is KYW News 3 at 11.
He led us from the South Pacific to Texas to the fringes of space. Tonight, America's storyteller is dead. Good evening, everyone. I'm Larry Kane. James Michener, born and bred in Bucks County, the extraordinary popular author, died this evening at the age of 90. News 3's Ren Scott joins us live from the Michener Museum in Bucks County with more on this remarkably talented human being. Ren?
Good evening to you, Larry. You know, it's interesting. When we think of James Michener, we think of this renowned writer writing about exotic places all over the world. But Michener was actually a very simple man who grew up very, very poor right here in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. And several years ago here in Doylestown, they dedicated the Michener Museum, which is right here behind me. Clearly, they've known for a long time this is a man they did not want to forget. He'll be remembered as a distinguished writer who traveled and wrote about the world. But for most of his life, James Michener considered Doylestown, Bucks County, his home. He grew up here, the adopted son of poor Quaker parents, and used the local libraries to feed his curious mind.
And he got his first library card around the age of 10, and he writes really very movingly about the value of that to him as a child growing up without a lot of toys and other resources.
His career as an author began with duty in the South Pacific during World War II. His first book, Tales of the South Pacific, won the Pulitzer Prize.
I doubt that I would have written a word if I had not gone into the South Pacific before brutal, difficult years where you had to say, what is it all about? What's it worth? What does a human life really add up to?
During his lifetime, Michener published more than 40 titles on a variety of topics. He was best known for his historical novels, among them Hawaii, Alaska, Centennial, Chesapeake, and Texas. He did all his own research, always making a point to live in the places he wrote about for 2 to 3 years.
Never worried about being in a country where I didn't speak the language. You always find some way to communicate.
Dying of kidney failure at age 90 in Austin, Texas last week, James Michener chose to take himself off dialysis. His old friend Ed Pizek flew out to see him just before he died.
We went there and we saw him, and I said, the beauty of it, how he lit up, and he said, how nice of you guys to come and see me. Yeah. And then he drifted off.
Now, in recent years, Michener donated millions of dollars to various causes and institutions, including about $7 million to Swarthmore College, where he was educated, and about $1 million here to the local library in Doylestown, which is right next to the museum. And friends say Michener was often very embarrassed about having a museum named after him during his lifetime, but clearly this was a man that this community was very, very proud of, and they wanted him to know it. That's the latest here in Doylestown. I'm Ren Scott. Let's go back to Larry in the studio.
Thank you, Ren. Police caught up with one of Camden's most wanted fugitives late today. This is the scene. David Olberton arrested after a brief standoff with police. It happened after lawmen surrounded his apartment building in Pennsauken. Detectives say last Sunday, Olberton was arguing outside a house and fired a gun. The bullet flew into the home and killed 18-year-old Aisha Gingram as she sat in an upstairs bedroom. Well, defense setbacks today in the controversial mainline murder case of Craig Rabinowitz. A Montgomery County judge ruled prosecutors can present a statement Rabinowitz gave to police after his wife was murdered, but before he was actually charged. And the judge dismissed a defense request to throw out all charges against Craig Rabinowitz. Tonight, there is a possible breakthrough in the Amy Willard murder case. Sources tell News 3 an arrest in her murder may be imminent. News 3's Walt Hunter has been on this story from the beginning, has more tonight.
Since June 1996, when Amy Willard was abducted from her car along the Blue Route and later found beaten to death in a North Philadelphia lot, those who knew and loved the 22-year-old star college athlete have prayed that her killer would be arrested. Now, sources say there's real hope it could happen soon. Sources tell News 3 that tests on materials at the North Philadelphia crime scene where Amy was found now provide a DNA link to a suspect. The test, known as an RFLP, is the most conclusive DNA test, with a 1 in 5 million match ratio. Sources also say that investigators now have a sealed search warrant for a car they believe was used to carry Amy's body. blood found in the car may be the victim's. And sources say marks on her body have been linked to the same car.
Our purpose today is to let people know that it's ongoing, that it is intensive, but when it's an appropriate time, we'll make more detailed comment about where the case stands.
Delaware County District Attorney Pat Meehan declined comment on whether the case has taken a major step forward.
My job is to produce investigations and prosecutions that can stick, and we're going to do what's in the best interest of the Willard family.
But sources say several key pieces of evidence are now being made into court exhibits by prosecutors. The kind of exhibit, sources say, that could be shown to a grand jury or at trial. No one is willing to say what the new evidence could mean to this man, Arthur Bomar, who police have said is under investigation in the case. Bomar is currently serving prison time for other crimes, but he has not been charged with any wrongdoing whatsoever in connection with Amy Willard's murder. At a meeting here in Delaware County on Tuesday, investigators in the case discussed when the arrest might be made, and sources say it could come as early as sometime in the next 2 weeks. At the Media Courthouse, Walt Hunter, News 3.
Well, 2 bodies, 2 mysteries. Foul play has been ruled out, though, and officials still don't know how a woman who was found at Ventnor Beach actually died today. The unidentified woman's body was found on the sand near Cambridge Avenue this morning. She was in her 50s, wearing only undergarments. The rest of her clothing found nearby. Authorities are now waiting for toxicology results. And Skycam 3 and our new gyro camera over the Feltonville section of Philadelphia today as police inspected a burned-out car near 5th and Ansbury. Inside, they made a gruesome discovery. They found a body in a trunk. An autopsy will be performed tomorrow to determine the identity. The owner of a Philadelphia funeral home says it was an intruder who dumped human ashes in the trash. News 3 broke this story about the Kensington Funeral Home last night at 6 o'clock. Louis Garzone, who owns the Garzone Funeral Home on Somerset Street, says someone stole boxes containing cremated remains, believing there were valuables inside. Garzone says the intruders discovered they were not valuable and left the ashes on the street near the funeral parlor. Police are still investigating the episode. Hundreds of firefighters gathered for a final farewell today to one of their own who died in the line of duty. Fire trucks from many departments in our area and volunteer groups formed a mournful procession in Chester County. The full honors were for William Winters, a firefighter for 63 years. He was a Chester County fire marshal and deputy chief of the Atglen Fire Company. The 76-year-old chief died from a heart attack at the scene of a fire last week. Now, an engineering report suggests a collision probably triggered a deadly wall collapse at a Philadelphia parking lot. You remember this? October 5th, a parking sign crashed to the ground at Broad and Pine, seriously injuring one person and killing Philadelphia Common Pleas Court Judge Beryl Caesar. The report indicates a steel guard rail on the roof was hit, and that loosened the brick wall holding the giant sign together. The damage to the guard rail and weakening of the wall reportedly took place within 24 hours of the accident. There has been yet another military plane crash in our country, but this time the pilot ejected. But how dangerous. A Marine Corps Harrier jet crashed along an interstate highway in Fairborn, Ohio. Witnesses say the engines were on fire before the plane hit the ground and burst into a ball of flame. Officials say 20 Harrier jets have crashed in the past 4 years alone. A female pilot for Continental Airlines has won a lawsuit over pornography in the cockpit. 38-year-old Captain Tammy Blakely was awarded $875,000 in a sexual harassment suit. She claimed her superiors ignored her complaints about pornographic pictures left in the cockpit by male pilots. The only survivor of the crash that killed Princess Diana has filed a lawsuit seeking damages for his injuries. French authorities say Trevor Rees-Jones, seen here during his first public appearance after the accident, formally entered the investigation today. The bodyguard is also allowed access to all court papers filed in the investigation. For the first time in its history, the New York Times front page contains color pictures. Welcome to color, the New York Times. The Times scrapped the black and white photos for an updated look, just as the paper was getting a new chairman. Arthur Sulzberger Jr. is taking over where his father, Arthur Sr., left off. The new chairman says 2 landmark events in one day is just a coincidence. And cheers tonight to the South Philadelphia Review. Now, that is a newspaper. Today, the 50th anniversary of the renowned South Philadelphia newspaper was celebrated with a party at Penn's Landing. On the menu, delicious Philadelphia pretzels and great Philadelphia cheesesteaks. Great paper, South Philly Review. Still ahead on News 3 tonight. See the drama unfold as rescue attempts are made to save a woman who is trapped in a car while floodwaters surged around her.
I'm David Rogers. Clear sky right now, but there's rain all around us. I'll let you know when it's going to arrive coming up.
Plus, a shocking figure. 1 in 5 Americans over the age of 12 has a sexually transmitted disease. Can you protect yourself? Get the facts. It's a News 3 special report coming up tonight on News 3 at 11.
KYW News 3 at 11 continues.
It was a terrifying scene in the nation of Turkey as rescuers and passersby tried to rescue a woman from rising floodwaters. A driver trapped in her car after it flipped into a river. Now take a look at the frantic scene as rescuers tried in vain and watched in horror as the car hit a tree. Luckily, the woman was able to escape from the car. She's recovering in a hospital. Floods have ravaged western Turkey and have been blamed for at least 7 deaths. Hundreds of homes have been damaged, and the storms have caused major power outages and cut phone lines. And a decade ago this week, there was a rescue to remember. Everybody watched this in Texas. 18-month-old Jessica McClure was pulled from a 20-foot deep well. The dramatic 58-hour rescue captured the world's attention. Little Jessica captured everyone's heart. Today, the 11-year-old still lives in Midland, Texas. She reportedly remembers nothing of her fall or rescue and has only minor scars and is staying away from the cameras. $1 million in donations that poured in is in trust for her until she turns 25. Minister Louis Farrakhan has called for a Day of Atonement today to mark the 2nd anniversary of the Million Man March. It was capped off by a nationwide speech from the Nation of Islam leader. News 3's Beverly Williams reports.
The greedy few will take what God has given for the whole of humanity.
As a finale to the Day of Atonement, Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan addressed followers during a nationwide pay-per-view event. At Philadelphia's Judge Lewis Quadrangle in Center City, a handful of people gathered in the evening to wrap up the Day of Atonement by listening to entertainment. The event coincides with the 2nd anniversary of the Million Man March. Earlier, in cities from Hartford, New York, Atlanta, and Philadelphia, some African Americans heeded Farrakhan's call to stay home from work to pray and fast, but many didn't participate.
My hat's off to, the ones that can afford to do it, but the ones that can't, you know what we have to do, pay the bills.
I prayed 3 times, 4 times today, so put a good spirit in me.
Today I didn't smoke. Today I fasted throughout the day, and I came down and I'm giving these brothers support.
A few of Philadelphia's mainstream politicians flanked the Nation of Islam's Rodney Mohammed as he spoke to the modest crowd gathered earlier at the Judge Lewis Quadrangle. And there were others who came for the sake of their children.
I explained to him today what atonement meant. I don't want another October the 16th to pass without he and I taking part.
Those who supported the Day of Atonement say that it helped to raise the social consciousness of African Americans. But there were others who believe it was designed to help raise the still controversial profile of Louis Farrakhan. Beverly Williams, News 3.
And the Million Woman March in Philadelphia will go on. Organizers have paid the city a $10,000 permit fee. 1 million African American women are expected to crowd Penn's Landing, Independence Mall, and the Ben Franklin Parkway a week from Saturday. They will call for African American unity. Well, finally, and a lot of people are happy about this, it was back to business today at the Plymouth Meeting Mall in Montgomery County. A water main break affected the mall's power supply and forced the shopping center to close up shop yesterday afternoon. Shoppers, as well as workers, were back in full force today. Casino giant Donald Trump says New Jersey's governor is trying to squeeze him out of the gambling business. Trump claims an aide to Governor Christie Whitman warned his casinos would be in jeopardy if he ran ads bashing Whitman for supporting the Atlantic City Tunnel project. The tunnel will lead commuters to the front door of Trump's competitor. The Whitman administration denies the accusation. Well, if you receive a Social Security check, you can expect to see a little more money starting in January. The adjustment means the average beneficiary will get a $16 a month raise and get $765. For a couple, the average would increase to $1,288 from a current $1,261. The adjustment, by the way, is the smallest in a decade. If you're fed up with gambling on weight loss programs that promise more, they deliver, you're not alone. Some consumer groups are demanding the Federal Trade Commission require weight loss centers to provide more detailed information up front. This week, the commission is holding a conference in Washington to see if voluntary guidelines can be worked out. Some weight loss companies say providing more information about cost and health risks would be too expensive. Despite the emphasis on safe sex in this age of AIDS, there's been a startling increase in one sexually transmitted disease, genital herpes, and many people don't even know they have it. As News 3's Stephanie Stahl tells us in this special report, genital herpes is especially prevalent among teenagers.
1 in 5 Americans over the age of 12 now has genital herpes. The sexually transmitted disease has dramatically increased among white teenagers, according to the Centers for Disease Control. And many people don't even know they have it. Dr. Lenore Asbell is with the Philadelphia Health Department.
Some people just never develop that. They become infected with the virus and never develop either the blisters or the sores that come along with it.
In my case, I did not know when my outbreaks were there.
This woman, who's too embarrassed to show her face, was infected with genital herpes by a partner who never told her he had it.
I was very confused, and for the next few years, all I knew was what I read in books.
It's not something that people talk about easily, and there's no cure for the sometimes painful outbreaks, but there are medications. And the report points out the link between genital herpes and AIDS. Herpes sores make a person more likely to transmit HIV. And condoms used to help prevent the spread of AIDS are less effective in blocking herpes because the virus can be transmitted from parts of the body not covered by a condom.
The only 100% way to prevent yourself from getting it is to abstain, but condoms are the best protection that we have currently available to us.
But they're not foolproof.
Nothing is foolproof except for abstinence.
A report in the New England Journal of Medicine says 45 million Americans are infected with genital herpes. Since the 1970s, genital herpes has increased 30%. Among white teenagers, it's jumped from 1% to 4.5% with the disease in that age group.
If we do our best efforts to get people to use condoms and practice safe sex.
But the fact is, the message of safe sex apparently hasn't registered for many people, and a growing number are getting sexually transmitted diseases like genital herpes. Stephanie Stahl, News 3.
Genital herpes can go undetected for 11 years. It's especially dangerous to pregnant women who can pass it on to their babies during birth, causing serious problems. Up next on News 3, don't miss Dave Rogers' exclusive Franklin Institute forecast. The warm weather, a great backdrop for residents of Grays Ferry to begin work on a peace mural here at 29th and Wharton. Will tomorrow's weather be picture perfect? Don't miss Dave. But first, tonight's winning lottery numbers.
KYW News 3 continues with the Franklin Institute forecast.
All right, nice recovery. Our new website, as you take a look at the full moon back there in the background. Certainly be careful out there this evening. The clouds moving through, and certainly a good sign of another nice night and a nice day on tap for tomorrow. Let's start things out with our 3D vantage point from the east. Still some spotty cloud cover, but most of the nation pretty high and dry. Nice big area of high pressure. All the warm weather's out west right now. 80 and 90 degree temperatures. Heading to the south, things are kind of quiet right now, but there's a developing storm that's taking form right now of the eastern portions of the Gulf of Mexico. And what's going to happen is it's going to be riding up the east coast, and that means a very unsettled weekend for us coming up. So certainly if you got any outdoor plans or any chores to do outdoors, probably tomorrow and early Sunday will be the best time to get those chores in. As you take a look at our satellite picture, we'll turn the clock back about 12 hours. Take a look at this cloud cover moving up from the south to the north. That's going to be the major area of some of the clouds and moisture heading to the north. Still have that stationary front. It's now pushed a little further off the coast, and that did allow some clearing across our area today. Colder temperatures, though. We're still in northerly winds. Outside the city, the boonies and the burbs, some areas could see temperatures tonight get down into the mid-30s. Now, take a look at our radar picture. And again, we're looking pretty good right now, but moisture continues to streamline from the south to the north, the Outer Banks of North Carolina, down in Norfolk, Hampton Roads area. Some of that activity will slowly start to lift northward. And by late Saturday into Sunday, we're looking for a pretty good soaker. Partly cloudy right now at the airport. Again, a full moon, 52 officially. Northeasterly winds at about 6 miles per hour. Here's your 5-day planner. Looking good on Friday. Nice way to start your weekend. 63 degrees. Early sunshine on Saturday, increasing clouds. Showers right around dinner hour, about 60 degrees. All-day soaker on Sunday, possibly up to an inch and a half of rain. 57. Morning showers, gradual clearing on Monday. Tuesday, mix of clouds and sun, and a high of 60. That's your forecast for now. Have a great Friday. Larry?
Thank you, Dave. Still ahead on News 3, it's Big Board Sports, and we are thinking Eagles. Is it do or die? Is it Rodney Pete's time? Lou will have a preview next.
Big Board Sports. KYW News 3 continues.
Sunday, the case against Pete. Rodney Pete takes on Stoney Case for the Cardinals in Sunday's Battle of the Birds at the Vet. Number 9 for the Eagles. Both teams have been for the Birds with a combined 3 wins so far. The Eagles have been dominated physically on defense. On offense, they just kill themselves. So it was back to basics at practice today and all week.
As an offensive line, we know that we didn't play up to our potential last week, and we played well against Washington, and we took a step back last week. So we got to go back to that intensity we had in Washington.
From a personal aspect, I know there's no I in team, but I think each individual player has to go out and see what they did to contribute to that loss.
Hey, you remember that final 2 minutes the last time these teams met? Boomer beat them at the buzzer in Arizona last year. But here, a very different story at the Vet. The Cards last won in 1991. Since then, the Eagles have won 7-3, 23-17, 17-7, 21-20, and 29-19 last year. The season's first Thursday night game was a dud. All Kansas City. Gerback takes them to 5-2. Nice scramble. Wachi throws across his body on stride to Andre Rison, who nabbed 2. 24-zip at the half. KC crushes the Chargers 31-3. The Flyers' California cruise takes them just up the road to L.A. tomorrow night. They escaped Anaheim with a 2-2 tie late last night. The Sixers are in the stretch drive now, just 2 weeks to the opener. Tonight's tune-up took them up to Albany, New York. Larry Brown is with the team this time to see the Knicks. Knicks win it this time, though, 88-83. Ewing had 20. Stackhouse 22 for the Sixers. Coleman had 15. And Tiger Woods picked up the sticks again. Hasn't touched him since the flame-out in Spain at the Ryder Cup. The Disney Tournament, Orlando. Tiger won it last year, and he hit it pretty good today. Made some birdies, shot 66, but Payne Stewart shot 64 for a one-shot lead. 64, that's almost as low as the top teams who played there last week in the Oldsmobile Scramble. And that's sports tonight. You have a good one. Larry, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Lou. When we return on News 3, ever want to bring the Spice Girls to your home? Now you can. Find out next. Barbie, move over. The Spice Girls are all dolled up. Today's unveiling of 12-inch replicas of the British pop singers created a media frenzy in England. We're waiting for a Lou Tilly doll here in America. The dolls go on sale there in December, just in time for Christmas. And word on when they'll come to the U.S., we don't really know. They're striking a chord with the public. And this Christmas Day, it may be what every girl wants, what she really, really wants. That's what they say in England. Anyway, Dave Letterman is next. Tonight's guest, Mike Wallace and rap star LL Cool J.